Thanks for listening to the AZ Wildcats podcast. I'm your host, Mike Luke, joined by Jason Scheer. Hello, Jason Scheer. It's been about 20 minutes or so. How you doing?
I miss you. I miss you immensely.
Absolutely. We all miss each other now. We've got a lot to get to this show. Everybody coming in. Oh, Brian Blackmore already in here amongst many others. We have a lot to get to. All right. So let's just talk about it. Scheer, we haven't heard from you since, but let's get your overall synopsis of the Kansas State game, and then we're going to dive into the details.
Was it good? Right? Not much positive to say. We talked in the week leading up that the only result we couldn't live with was a blowout, and it was a blowout.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the way it is. Let me ask you this, though, especially, too, with the presser. Brent Brennan was asked, what is the identity of your team? Scheer, he basically said, we don't know what it is. How do you inherit this team knowing that you got to win games now and you don't know what your identity is? How is this not a thing?
Yeah. And to his credit, he said they're still working on it. And I just think it's obvious. I don't know. Like, I can name the identity to multiple teams. Like, it's tough. And that goes back to coaching. Like, you should go into a season, like Babers should have said, look, offensively, we're going to be this type of team. Akinas says defensively, we're going to be aggressive and hard hitting. Like, that's what I want my identity to be. And I'm not even sure Arizona knows what it wants its identity to be, which is a major issue.
All right, now let's see here. But Joseph, I'll give Joseph this. This is it. By the way, Mike, I hope you're listening to 1490. Your boy Ali is on the back the flow movement. Scheer, I'm just going to say this: with his undisciplined and as the lack of any form of containment, I had a hard time saying it's hard to not have flow on the field. I gotta give that part to it.
I get it. And look, I don't really care who's on the field. I think the linebackers need to rotate. It is a recipe for disaster when you start hitting the fifth or sixth game and no other linebackers even getting like 2 snaps. Playing Tay Brown and Jacob Manu 75 snaps a game is a recipe for disaster. I don't agree with it. No team in the country really does it. They have to get more of a rotation.
All right, now let's talk about the offense because here's where I'm at. We talked about it before the season. This needed to be a top 15 offense. The first thing we need to talk about is the O-line. I understand that you lose Jordan Morgan. I totally get it. You still return 4 or 5 starters though. The fact that this offensive line has been this inept, that is a major concern, especially because you have 3 guys with a ton of experience in Moy, Baker, and Savanea. Scheer, I got major concerns. The O-line should be significantly better than it is.
So two things on this. I'm not sure Rhino was healthy that game. When I watched he wasn't moving well, right? Like, he just wasn't. And I think looking back in it, I almost wonder if they should have held him out a week before a bye and let him get completely healthy. But a lot of it is, I think, like, you hire an O-line coach, you hire a D-line coach, they come in and they say, we're changing everything that you've learned previously, which is their right to do. But clearly there's a learning curve, an adjustment that has been made. So like Oglesby said right from the day he was hired, I'm much different than Brennan Carroll. Brennan Carroll was a hold your ground type of guy. We're going to push you back type of guy. Same thing with the D-line. And for whatever reason, it's just not there. Like, it's not working. And I don't want to put a lot on Rhino this past game, but he allowed a third of the pressures, right? And if Rhino plays better, does the offensive line look better? Like, 6 pressures from Rhino, 3 from Ryan Stewart. That's half the pressures you allowed came from 2 guys.
Right. Now, OC Bodybuilder says, our offensive line was great last year. Why fix something that's not broken? I think that's a fair point. Listen, I know that you lose Jordan Morgan. I get it. But sometimes we talked about this. We've talked about this with other coaches as well. Your job is to get the most out of your players, not to do exactly what you want to do. They're wasting a lot of talent here, Scheer.
Yeah, I get it. But, I mean, you also don't want coaches teaching things that they're not used to teaching, right? Like, if Josh Oglesby has a way of teaching things that he's had a way of teaching for 5 years, he's not all of a sudden going to try to teach something he doesn't know how to do.
All right, fair enough. Let's talk about Babers, because Babers to me is the real problem here. Babers is a real problem at this point. There is no way that you should have this kind of talent on offense and struggle to score against NAU and not score for the last, what? Oh, I don't know, 56 minutes of the game against Kansas State. That is a problem. Everything that we saw in camp, they were more innovative. They were including the tight ends. They were getting everybody involved. It was, this has been atrocious at this point, Scheer. There's no other way around it. So far, it's been atrocious.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm completely out on Babers yet because it's only been 3 games, but I think what we're seeing is what happens when you hire a guy who hasn't really called a play in a decade, I'd say. Right. And I said this before, like he wasn't the offensive coordinator at Syracuse. Like he really has not called a play in a decade at least. And it's just, I don't know if it's play design. I think some of it is, but there's no feel for the game. Like I went back and watched it and because you get a better appreciation and I retweeted it and there's a counter play and it works great. Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only time all season I think they've run it. Why?
Right.
Like, why? Like run it again, right? Like we saw plays, Mike. We said it. I said in the last show, they haven't run it once. Not once, and it worked.
And in camp, too, especially, I mean, we'll get to Kean Burnett here in a second because he looked like an emerging superstar. Basically hasn't been included in the offense at all. Now, with the running game, the one thing, it worked a little bit on the first drive, but come on, dude. Stop the slow developing handoff. I'll let you give the explanation for it that the coaches gave, and then I'm going to tell you why that is stupid.
Well, no, the explanation makes sense. It just doesn't make sense for the personnel.
Well, right, so it doesn't make sense.
Fine, but
go ahead, explain it.
Like if you guys remember when the Steelers had like Bettis and Le'Veon Bell, they would take the pullers and basically evolve the run game behind the pullers, and you'd get gaps, and it would be a great run game, right? And you had all pro offensive line, an all pro offensive line doing that, right? Yeah. They're doing a similar strategy. The issue is just your offensive line isn't good enough to do it. Okay. So if they were good enough, the strategy probably would look great. But it's basically against zone or man. They use the pullers, things like that, counter plays, and they're just not working.
All right, so here's my concern, and here's where I'm going to go with this. Let's just say that you're a coach that likes to get vertical, and you've been coaching Randy Moss your entire life. And, well, guess what? Instead of Randy Moss, you have Mike Luke. Are you still going to do the same exact thing? That to me just doesn't make any sense. I don't buy it. And here's where, again, I'm at with
this. Is that a Babers decision, you think?
Or
an Oglesby.
At the end of the day, this is Babers' offense.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, Randy Moss equals Mike Luke. Yes.
Yeah, I see no difference between the two. That's why your comparison doesn't work for me there.
At the end of the day, though, this is Babers' offense, and he's been giving. I mean, it's not like Brennan's calling any plays. And by the way, we can dismiss that. Brennan, I don't think has ever called a play in his life. He's not going to take over to call plays.
I'll say that people want Babers to be fired. It's not going to happen.
Not happening.
But should he be fired, the play caller would become Matt Atkins. 100%.
Okay, so there's that. We're going to get to Jeremiah Patterson in a second, but also, though, with this, I just can't believe there is and I was talking with our good buddy John Brogan about this, and that's the other thing. How do you have this type of talent on offense? You have the best player in the country, maybe in T-Mac. You've got a guy that we know what you do in Noah Fafita. I don't care what anybody says. Kean Burnett is wildly talented. You got solid running games as well. And you have it's a slowdown. It's like, man, we want to keep our guys on the field as long as possible. There's no feel. There's no nothing. It's disgusting so far.
It's bad. There's no sugarcoating it. The offense is really bad, and it was bad against NAU when it should be good by. Like you should be able to know. And look, NAU won their last game by a lot. They actually might be pretty good at that level.
Doesn't matter
at that level. But you should be able to run the ball 50 times against NAU for 300 yards.
Yes, exactly. And on top of that, the passing game looks totally listless. Now let's get to the tight ends here for a second. Listen, all throughout camp, especially Kean Burnett. He dominated in camp. He looked like a guy that was going to be in the NFL in a year or two. I mean, and everybody saw it. He's been targeted like once. It's
weird. I don't know why. And like today, Brennan said like about the passing game, like we need to get the tight ends more involved. I don't know if it's a play calling thing. I don't know if the routes are too deep. I don't know if it's the O-line. I don't know if Noah's missing it. I don't know. right? That's something that you find out on film. I think it's probably a little combination of this and that, but they need to get him more involved. Like, they're just force the ball to Burnett. Like, there were practices where they were forcing the ball to him. Do it a couple times.
Yes, and there's just none of that. Now we need to talk about Patterson for a second. When it comes to Patterson, I'm still not. I'm telling you all.
I'm with you, Mike. We will not give up. Damn it! Throw a screen pass to my guy.
But again, I'm at
screen.
I'm at the stage with this where I'm blaming Babers. I'm not blaming necessarily the players because I know what I've seen, and I know what I've seen, especially with Patterson. He was destroying people in practice, and everybody saw it. If you were there for 5 minutes, you knew exactly what you saw.
The dude is clearly really fast. Why not throw a tunnel screen to Jeremiah Patterson?
Right.
Why not throw a quick out to Jeremiah Patterson? One thing, and I'll criticize Bobby Wade a little bit for this too. These receivers can't get off blocks.
Right.
They can't get off blocks. And then when you look at some plays, the depth of the routes they're running makes no sense. Like, we were watching a play, I don't remember when it was, but they needed a third down conversion, and there isn't one guy at the sticks. They're like 6 yards past the first down marker. Why?
Right. What are you doing? Now, it's not Tavion Cunningham, Joseph. I'm just telling you this. Tavion Cunningham, we never went to practice, and Tavion Cunningham was dominating game in and game out. Now let me ask you this, Scheer, and I got to give you a little bit of credit on something. I actually got to give you a lot of credit. If we were talking about something, a little bit of a how do I put this? I almost said a red herring. That doesn't matter. Montana Lamonius Craig, you called it, Scheer. You called it. Here is your time to spike the football. For all that was bad, you called this.
Someone's got to do it, right? Like Montana, whether we like it or not, there is no second receiver, and so I just figured Montana or Patterson would be the guy. And Montana played well. And I know a lot of people are going to say it's in garbage play and all that, but still, it is what it is. He hasn't gotten it in garbage time before. So they need that second wide receiver. They have to find it. Whether it's Hunter, AJ Jones, like, throw someone else in there. If these guys aren't the answer, throw someone else in there. Malachi Riley today, I asked Brendan about injuries, which I'm not supposed to do, but damn it, I did. And he said
it didn't limit your access.
It's going to be a while. He said it's going to be a while. So
right. Okay. Now let's talk a little bit about let's talk a little bit about the discipline on this team as well. There is no discipline on this team, none whatsoever, and that to me is the part that's even crazier about this. We just talked about Montana Lamonius Craig. Literally, you have a play that would have gone for 30 yards, and he just allows the DB to just push him out of bounds. And then obviously you got the holding. Now, one of them was a BS hold. I get all that, where you get the ball to midfield, and then before long, it's 2nd and 40. It's sheer, and it's the discipline. Let's just be honest here. This looks like a very poorly coached team at this point.
So part of this, I was wondering, do you think it's discipline or a lack of technique? Like, the personal fouls are discipline, but like Rhino getting 2 holding penalties against a Kansas State defensive lineman, is that discipline, or is that just a technique and the guy's better than Rhino?
When it's happening time and I'll go back to the Montana Lamonius Craig thing. That is a lack of discipline. When you allow a DB to push you out of bounds so you can't catch the ball and you essentially give up a 30-yard, that's that at that point. And here's the other thing that I'm a little bit worried about as well, is that and again, I get that it's different, but I don't look at the sideline right now and think that, like, look at Brennan and say, man, that's a guy. Like, we've seen this before. We've seen coaches where something happens and you're like, man, when I get back to Tucson, we're going to be able to fix this. I don't watch that and say that there's some grand plan there, Scheer.
We're going to find out. Brennan today, and I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying we're going to find out, right? Like, it's like at the end of the day, Mike, and I'm hard. Cody texted me. He's like, "Wow, that was quick for you to criticize the coaching staff." We're 3 games in.
We are 3 games in for sure. But like we also said, though, you're going to lose a lot of talent after this season, period. You're not going to have T-Mac back. This was a guy that he inherited a loaded roster. He needed to win games. And it's not even so, it's how they look. They're 2-1, but dude, they looked terrible against NAU. Absolutely atrocious.
Most of us thought they would be 2-2, right? After 4 games.
But we didn't think.
But I didn't think they would look like this.
Right. That's the point.
Earlier, like I tweeted, like I think Texas Tech is by far. I don't expect Arizona to beat Utah. I expect them to look better. But at no point have I really thought, I thought they would win one of the two. I don't think that anymore. Like I don't think they're going to Utah and winning that game.
No.
I would expect them to look better. And that in turn means that, like I tweeted earlier, Texas Tech is the biggest game of the season by far. I don't need them to beat Utah. I don't expect them to beat Utah. Let's keep it within 10 points.
Okay. Yeah, but I agree.
I think, what do you think the spread will be? 12?
12. But here's the other thing. The Kansas State game it was 31-7, and it still felt like it was 65-7. It felt.
Disagree.
Oh, come on. All right, make the case.
14-7. Right? They have
it was 14, dude. It was 14-7 because of bonehead things that Kansas State did that had nothing to do with Arizona.
The same thing with Arizona. Rhino they were driving, they were carving them up, and then Rhino has 2 holding penalties in a row, and the drive is dead.
But we don't even know if Rhino was awful all game. So if you're saying that this was just a one-off, Avery Johnson.
I'm not sure, and our guy Blair Willis tweeted it too. I know the score was 38-7, and Arizona got its butt kicked. I fully accept that. But there were multiple drives where it had nothing to do with Kansas State.
Okay.
That game could have just as easily been 24-17.
But it could have just as easily been even worse.
I don't think. How? They only punted twice.
Well, they ran the ball out of bounds to end the half
they only punted twice.
They ran the ball out of, hey, we're going to talk about it. They would have
scored a field goal.
Okay. How about the other one, too, where it was 4th and 2 and nobody understood why in the world he was kicking the ball for a field goal and he missed it as opposed to going for it? Probably would have gotten that.
It's a coaching decision.
Okay, fine. Let's talk about defense here in a second because you're the one. I have a much, much, much bigger problem with what I've seen from the offense and what I've seen from the defense. And it's for the reasons that you just laid out. Thank you for making my case. I'm saying Arizona had given up. Now I'm going to make the exact opposite case that you just made. Actually, the same case, except we're going to argue it from a different point of view. Arizona had only given up a touchdown midway through the third quarter. And this is not a super talented defense. Scheer, come on.
Mike, but they look at the numbers of the rushing yards that this defense has allowed its last 4 games. New Mexico ran all over Arizona.
Right.
Scored 40 New Mexico scored 40 points. Did you see Devon Dampier's numbers against Auburn?
No, what did he do?
Ran for 30 yards, maybe.
Okay. All right.
Right. Devon Dampier ran for 120 yards against Arizona. Then they go to NAU, who, whatever. They didn't, the defense was great against NAU. Awesome. They go to Kansas State. Kansas State, probably, we would agree, probably didn't need to pass the ball to win that game.
Yeah.
Probably could have ran every play and won that game.
No. Okay.
I got it. Terrible. The offense is terrible and the defense is terrible.
But the difference, though,
is which is less terrible.
But the difference, though, is first of all, if I tell you midway through the third quarter that you've given up 7 points, you're going to expect to win.
But you just told me that it wasn't 7 points. It should have been 21.
Well, but it was 7 points, though. It was 7 points. I can play that game too, mister.
Absolutely. So you're agreeing with me.
I can play that
game. Wasn't as big of a blowout. It could have been much closer.
But it was only reason is because of the defense.
But the defense, Mike, the defense was terrible.
It's
okay to admit that both sides of the ball was terrible.
Yeah, but the thing is, listen, look at the defense. How many guys do you think are playing in the NFL on the defensive side of the football?
Just as many as the offense.
Really?
Yeah.
Who?
Takario will play in the NFL. You may not like him, but he'll play.
Okay.
Genesis Smith is probably an NFL player.
Keep going.
What do you got on offense? You've got what? 3?
We didn't go in. Here's what we said, and I've got many clips of this, so do not try to get out of this, mister. We have many. We went into this season saying that we needed the defense to be middle of the road in the conference, and we needed the offense to be
middle of the road.
What's that? Again, they gave up 7 points, dude.
Not middle of the road. I want to look it up right now. And if they're middle of the road, I'll apologize to you.
What? The offense has been far worse, dude.
Yeah, that's my point. They're both bad.
Now, let's get it.
You're trying to shine a turd.
Now let's talk a little bit about the
shine a turd. That was good.
Yeah, shine a turd. All right, now we need to talk about something
right now. By the way,
as you do that, we need to talk about something that we can all unite around.
You want points or you want yards?
Why don't we go points?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, first, but there's something that we do need to address. Sanderson Ford. That is something that we can agree on. You see these testy exchanges, and you're saying to yourself, man, Sanderson Ford, these guys need to have a Sanderson Ford. Look at this Sanderson Ford truck. That Sanderson Ford thing, that is just absolutely amazing. Here's the deal, too. We always talk about Scheer and how cool Scheer is. If Scheer had a Sanderson Ford, shop the Sanderson Ford playoff sale with no hassle, no pressure, and no nonsense. Football is back, and so are the Arizona's largest Ford dealership, Sanderson Ford. See dealer for details. Also, they have the Moonlight, or they have the what is it called? The Starliner Diner, the Moonlighter Diner.
Moonlighter Diner.
Check it out, though. Sanderson Ford, be like our good pal Kevin Thomas. And check that out right, and Shady Rays. Now, we know somebody that's probably got a little bit of a talking to this weekend that also has Shady Rays. And that is maybe the only redeeming value of this person, but he does look cool with those Shady Rays. Check it out. And it's not the man in the picture. We very much like him. But check it out. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com and use code PHNX for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Shady Rays, again, check it out, my friends. Check it out. All right, Shady Rays. Scheer, what do you got?
All right. And I'm going to bring up something as well. Points per game, Arizona is the 3rd worst in the conference. Texas Tech, West Virginia, Arizona, and then there's a 5-point gap to the next team.
Okay.
What else you want? You want yardage?
How about passing yardage?
Passing yardage per game, Arizona is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th.
There you go.
Yardage. Total yardage, Arizona's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11th. The defense isn't good.
I know, but now let's talk about the defense, because you were wrong on something.
Rushing yards, not worse, believe it or not.
You were wrong on something, Scheer. You were talking. We need to talk about.
I have a question for you. You want to go my question or your question first?
You go first.
If Noah Fafita doesn't throw a terrible pass and it's intercepted in the end zone, how different is the game?
I don't. That's a good question. I don't think it's much different, though, mainly because the offense just couldn't do anything. And
I love Noah, but that should have been a touchdown.
That was a terrible throw. Totally get it. Let's talk about now something that I want to talk about.
Bill Norton, go ahead.
Bill Norton, you were wrong.
Yeah.
Bill Norton was a big loss for Arizona, and I have no problem saying this. You can, because I don't rely on the insider stuff, so you can disagree with me all you want on this. Bill Norton was a miseval by this staff. I can just say it right now. They did not make him feel wanted. Now, they didn't run him off. Not saying that. We need to be clear about that. They did not run him off, but they certainly did not make him feel wanted. And having him run with the twos all camp, and then talking about when he left that, I don't know that your style is really what we're looking for. Then meanwhile, you have Chuba. And with all due respect, I know Chuba is a really good kid. Chuba was out of place big time in that game, Scheer. Big time. Big Bill Norton is a much better football player than Chuba.
Question about Bill. All right. And I like Bill, all that. You want to say I'm wrong? That's fine. They obviously could use Bill. I'm not going to say they can't. Where are we as a football whatever when you say, hey, you got to earn your spot, and a kid just leaves?
No, dude. They went through all of camp.
It's not just him.
There were other players as well. Chuba looked awesome on the punt team. This is called.
Bill played. By the way, Bill played the most snaps he has all year.
And he's starting for the #1 team in the country.
17 snaps, which is and Tia played 14.
And he's starting for the #1 team in the country. All I'm saying is this. This was a miseval. If you looked at Chuba and you looked at BBN and you said that Chuba's better, that's on you.
Sure. He didn't start this week.
What's that?
He didn't start this week. He lost his starting job.
All right. Well, then he got more snaps then, so you should actually like it more.
Yeah, he got 17 because they were up 90.
All right. Now,
I think it's a bad decision for both parties.
Okay, but either way.
By the way, MC bodybuilders, that is definitely not true. And Mike will attest to that.
No. Let's see here. Yeah, they don't give us any access whatsoever. It doesn't matter.
That's definitely. That may have been true in the past. It ain't true now.
This is an interesting coaching staff in that regard, in that they don't. And again, I got to be careful here because I don't want to go overboard. We're only 3 games into the season. I get that. They do not do anything to promote themselves or the team. They hide everybody. But if Arizona gets destroyed against Utah, guess what? They're going to be the ones saying, we need fan support out here.
And I have an interesting perspective I've now taken on this. Do we think that they hid them on purpose because they knew this team wasn't as good as people thought?
No, I don't think they think that far ahead because of the offense that they're running.
No, but I'm saying, like, well, that's fair. But, like, you don't think, like, they may have seen and go, man, we're not as good as people think we are?
No, but wait a second here. You had some, and I'll tell people another story here, and you can say what you want. But there was another player here that started last year, or kind of started.
Yeah.
They didn't know what position he played. Like a week into being here, they didn't know what position he played. I'm just going to leave it at that. Those to me are just things that can't happen. When Big Bill Norton is basically promised that, and again, this is stupid, I get it, but for kids like this, it matters that we're going to give you your hype video and like tomorrow, and then it takes 4 weeks, and then meanwhile you get like
That's
2
soft. That's soft.
What? All right, well then fine, but then you put him in camp and you have him running behind Chuba. Listen, there was that play that Chuba, and again, here's where I kind of knew where we were at with Chuba. There was the play where he gave up where he just basically froze in the hole right there when the running back bounced it outside, where it's like, dude, you had to move like a foot that way, and he just couldn't move that foot.
Yeah, he's slow. And I think they're playing too many snaps. Ty looks slow too.
Right. Now let's
how many I'm going to look at how many snaps Chuba played last game. Because look, I love Chuba. I realize he's not as good as I thought he would be, but he's still like 300 and whatever amount of pounds. Like there's only so many snaps. Like last game he was bad last game.
All right, now Joseph's coming in here with
the 35 snaps. That's a lot for him.
Yeah, Joseph's coming in. Well, when you don't have people behind him that you trust, Joseph makes a good point. The BBN situation isn't soft. You deserve some type of respect. Come on.
It's soft, dude. When you're getting mad over a return video and then you're getting mad.
Forget that for a second.
By the way, Bill Norton was the ones, Mike. They rotated him. He was the one.
He was rotated. We talked and we saw the entire
ones, and they rotated him with the twos. You were just very upset about this. All they did was rotate him.
And I know for a fact he was also told that your style isn't necessarily what we're looking for.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so your style's not what we're looking for, but guess what? We want Chuba.
We got to get someone, but you're also you're ignoring the fact I don't know how much they would normally recruit a guy like Chuba. When did they get in the transfer portal?
I agree with that, and let's talk about some other people too. And you talked about kind of a Mountain West type thing, Trey Smith.
I'm not talking crap about Trey Smith. I think he's fine. I really do. I don't think he's played well against the running quarterbacks, but he leads the team in pressures. He grades out well almost every game. I have no problem with Trey Smith.
Grades out well. Wait a second. We're doing the grades out by who?
He grades out well but we use it when we support it. PFF. Better than Russell Davis.
What's that?
Trey Smith is better than Russell Davis.
I'm just saying. Well, does he have a sack this year? How many sacks does he have? Trey Smith, 1. Does he have a sack?
I don't know.
Okay, I'm just saying that this was a.
Just one sack. He got the sack against NAU. He has 17 pressures in 3 games and 15 hurries in 3 games.
You're right. He's not bad, but I still think the problem though is that this staff clearly, I think, thought that they could just kind of. We'll just make this work. I don't know that they showed the proper appreciation, or let me put it to you like this: the proper, appreciation. You just don't run off a guy like.
I think we're overanalyzing the hell out of one player that would have made a minimal impact on Arizona's success. BBN? I think the problems are significantly greater than BBN.
Okay, all right.
Like, was BBN the difference between winning and losing against Kansas State?
BBN, what you even said via text, even though you tried to deny it, the BBN would have been the best defensive lineman on this team. You said that. I have the text. You don't. Sure. You do not run. Then you basically don't just say, whatever. If you know somebody's the best.
I think Big Bill Norton is a good football player that would have helped Arizona. You are making it out to be like Arizona lost freaking Aiden Hutchinson. Calm down, Mike.
But you're also,
he's good. What do you want me to do?
But you're also saying though too that Well, he still would have probably been the best defensive lineman on the team.
Awesome.
Okay.
Is he playing linebacker? Is he helping Jacob Manu, who has become an average linebacker?
Yeah, but let's talk about
helping Tay Brown, who is an average linebacker.
Let's talk about Manu next. How much of that do you think that outside of Trey Smith, how about that? The D line is.
I watched the Kansas State game. That's not on the D line. Jacob Manu, and I love Manu, and I don't think he's a bad linebacker. He had no idea where he was on multiple plays.
Now, let me ask you this. And I don't actually know the answer to this. Generally, I know the answer to everything. All of a sudden, Jacob Manu in his first 2 years here looked incredibly instinctive and just looked like he just knew football inside out. Now, it looks like he's lost.
Yeah.
What's going on?
He looks a little slower, too.
I'm just asking.
I don't know. But he's been awful.
Well,
no one is safe. No one is safe.
No. All right. Now, let me ask you this. And we had a parent on a team, or we had a parent of somebody on the team. Yeah, I blame Scheer. Say this, and I want to ask you this and see what you say. And there'll be the text message Scheer, and then there will be the on-air Scheer. And maybe we can meet in the middle. How about that? Because I won't actually out your text messages. But there was a parent on the town. Oh, what? Yes. Why is the, let me ask you this then. Do you think that this coaching staff, do you think that players have a healthy respect that if they, if they mess up, they don't do something, that they're going to be, if they do something repeatedly wrong, they're going to be not disciplined, but do you think they have any?
Not really. And I think you would see it, right? Like,
that's a problem, is it not?
Tay Brown and Jacob Manu, and I again, just as an example, have not left the field. Right. Have they made mistakes? Yes. I look at Mike Tomlin yesterday, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was the offensive lineman that got 3 penalties.
Yep.
Right? He was benched the rest of the game.
Yep.
At the NFL level, when the guy's making millions of dollars, you can do it at the college level. If Lance Kennelly misses his assignment, do you watch that game? That's just embarrassing, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Why would he play? Why is he playing again?
No, I get it. I just don't think that there's any accountability. Now, can we talk?
That's what I'm saying. There's not. Like, if you miss your edge containment 4 times, right? Why are you still playing?
Now, I agree. Now, Andre Veras, the great Andre Veras. By the way, Andre Veras, you got your wish, and we got all of our wishes. Brad Ellis back on Tuesday. Good friend of Jason Scheer, actually helped the lovely Shelby Scheer get a job. So we very much appreciate William Brad Ellis. But here's my other question. When it comes to what was I going to say now? My ADHD is spinning like no other. But
why do you think we haven't seen the plays is what Andres is asking. I don't know. I don't know the answer.
I don't know the answer either. And I think that's the part that is very, very frustrating. And I just don't know. Here, we're basically at the point now, you're 3 games in. And so again, you're a quarter of the way through the season. I don't understand though how it just looks so listless. I mean, that's the best way I could put it.
I wonder, and someone asked this today, Brian Peterson asked this, do you think the team almost got too impacted by the expectations to the point, like, and Blair Willis has a great quote from Saban on this as well, where basically the expectations are so high, you are so afraid to screw up that you basically just stop playing football. Like you're just a robot because you're so scared of not meeting expectations that it becomes... Well, it's a weird vibe. The whole vibe is just different.
But that to me is on the coaching staff then, because there's way too many people. And here's where I keep going with. There's way too many guys that we have way too much of a body of work that we know are good. And Jacob Manu is a perfect example. Jacob Manu came in here, was a freshman All-American, was a first-team All-Conference guy last year. Nobody ever looked at him and said, man, he doesn't know what's going on out there. You look at him through 3 games and you're like, he doesn't look like he knows what's going on out there. Did Jacob Manu all of a sudden forget how to play football?
Yeah.
No.
I don't. I agree with you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was going to say, you'll not argue. That will mainly be...
I blame the coaches more than I probably have any other staff this early.
So you're not worried about them? You're not worried about them not giving you any access, Scheer? Is that what you're saying now?
Just I'm giving the people what they want, Mike.
All right. Now, one thing, though, here's something that we can all unite about. And this is something that I think we all, we're going to get to Smelly Rainy Seattle. Do not worry. But
Jed had a great quote today.
Jed?
Yeah, great quote.
All right. We'll get to that in just a second. Also, Danny Gonzalez. Do you want to talk about Danny Gonzalez?
No.
So far, not good.
Yeah, and I like Danny, though. I think Danny tries really hard, and I think he's very into it and passionate about it. I also think he's being asked to do certain things with special teams that he really hasn't done in a while. I'm all about dedicated special teams coaches.
Well, that's on Brennan. I agree with you on if you're putting a guy on special teams that you haven't done in a while, that's on Brennan. I agree with you. I like Danny Gonzalez as well. Yeah. Now, but one thing that we can unite around the Gila River Resorts and Casinos. You all know what the deal is. You all know what the deal is. Come on, do it right now. Everybody, do the wave. Do the wave. Woo, like a little flipper. Woo. Kevin Thomas is so good at this. His wave is so much better than ours. No. But check it out. A fun, immersive experience. You do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. All kinds of really good stuff there. Gila River Resorts and Casinos. A fun, immersive experience. And again, go all in with 4,500 slots and live tables, or catch all the action at any of our sports book. The Gila River Resorts and Casinos. We will be hosting events there. Cards and Suns watch parties. Check it out. Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Again, everybody out there, do the wave. Do the wave. Come on, Scheer, one more time. Do the wave one more time. Oh, I like that. Okay, now. Also, game time. Scheer, do it.
Listen, we were at the Alamo Bowl. We'll go with that one. We're at the Alamo Bowl. Me and another reporter are sitting, killing some time in the lobby. Start talking to this nice Oklahoma fan. He goes, I don't even have tickets. We said the game starts in 2 hours. And he goes, I'm just going to use the game time app. Boom, done. 2 hours before the game. Easy.
That's the way it is. You know what you did for him, Scheer? You took the guesswork out of buying tickets for this good chap. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code PHNX for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code PHNX for $20 off. Download Game Time. What time is it? Game time. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Wop, 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 wop. Game Time. Check it out. Okay, now one more time, Scheer the wave. Let's do it. Come on, one more time. Oh, that's good. That's good. Okay, now let's talk a little bit of the dollar defense. The dollar defense that we saw in camp. That has gone the way of the tight end.
Yeah, I don't know. They tried it. I think they played it like 3 downs last game.
Yeah.
We'll find out. I'm very curious about the Utah game because Cameron Rising, very good, obviously, but he is a statue. Mm-hmm. So we don't have to worry about running quarterbacks.
Right. Yeah, no, we will find out. Like I said, I don't have much faith in that, but we will find out. Also, Scheer, let's do something. Listen, Tucson, this was a tough loss, but there's always a harbinger of hope. Yes.
That's good.
Jed Fish was a national joke on his last play of the game, goal line against Washington State. We love watching Jed Fish mess up in Smelly Rainy Seattle. By the way, did you see the day? What the official day is?
Yes, very. Yeah. I should have worn my shirt.
National Stay Out of Seattle Day. That's actually a thing. I love it. But we have seen that Jed Fish before. Jed Fish is this. Jed Fish is, listen, there's no doubt about it. He did a good job bringing in talent here. No doubt about it. But this guy always has to be the smartest dude in the room. He always has to make you say, oh, I would have never thought of that. To the point where he has a quarterback who can't run going to the short side of the field to try to get into the end zone, Scheer. That was fantastic. I hope we see more of that, not less.
Big fan of the quote today. If we would have executed that play, it would have converted.
No.
Washington media are killing him. It's like, yeah, no crap. If I win the lottery, I'll have more money. Like, what does that quote even mean?
This is always what Jed's about. This is what Jed is about, though. And yes, he ran the same exact play against Utah, just the opposite side. Jed has to be the smartest guy in the room. And I think so much of this, and I've always thought this, and again, believe it or not, Scheer, there are so many people that believe that I was a Division I football player. I am not. I was not. But the one thing about it is, oh, and by the way, Glenn, I'll just say this, Glenn. when you get calls from Jed's agent trying to tell you a bunch of stuff on his way out that wasn't true, you would feel the same way too. Shoo.
Also, Glenn, you should know better. Mike and I will always talk about Jed. There's certain people we will always. When Deion Sanders is done coaching, we're still going to make fun.
We're still going to talk bad about Colorado. Exactly. So buzz off, Glenn. Yeah. Even though, and you need to tell your boy Jay Merck that he's got to get his stuff in line because that was bad today. And if you were on the boards, you know what I'm saying. Anyways, back to Jed for a second. I've always felt this was the case with Jed because we would always see weird stuff here where it's like, what the heck was that? Jed is upset. And like I said, I paraphrased it too by saying that I don't talk about Division or I was not a Division I football player. What? I know. What? But yes, I know. So what I'm about to say is something Jed, I think his entire life had to hear that he was a tennis player and that he never played football. So he always has to try to be the most creative guy in the room. I've got this thing instead of just running the ball up the middle, like every Washington fan was saying, like, hey, dude, you got Jonah Coleman. He's a bowling ball. Run up the middle. Watch this. I will do something that nobody will see and it won't work. And I'm also not going to know what the overtime rules are. And I'm going to pretend that I do a week later. Jed always has to have that.
Yeah, Jed needs to be the best, smartest, best coach ever.
Yeah.
Like if you ask Jed if he could win at a high level in the NFL right now, he would absolutely say yes.
And that's why he has to surround himself too with people like Belichick and Carroll so that he can he likes being he just likes that. That is that. And again, he did good things here, but this is also the guy that wanted to play JDL the whole season. So it is what it is. We will root against Washington and we will root against Colorado like there is no tomorrow. We will it can't salvage the season, but I will tell you this, man, Scheer, I felt a lot better after that Washington game.
Yeah, it cheered me up. It really did. We were fine. I was over pretty fast about the Arizona game. 24. I have a 24-hour rule, Mike.
By the way, people, I need to tell you this. Jed Fish is not getting the Florida job. He's not getting the Florida job. I don't know what happened. I wish I did, but something happened there. He is not getting the Florida job. Jed Fish. That's what you get, Jed. Now, let's see here. All right, now let's talk Kevin Thomas. Kevin Thomas has something that he said was going to make me very happy. Maybe the great Kevin Thomas will enter the equation. Hello, Kevin Thomas. How are you doing, my friend?
Good afternoon, Mike Luke. Good afternoon, Jason Scheer. I have a huge announcement. I've recently officially became a member, and I am taking my talents to the inner circle.
Oh my gosh!
I'm excited to join the program. A lot of talent playmakers there already. I'm just going to become another one of those, and I can't wait.
Dude, this is basically Joe Burrow without T. Higgins, and he only has Jamar Chase. Or T. Higgins has entered the room, my friends. You were not.
T. Higgins wishes he was me because I have an inner circle hat, and I'm sure T. Higgins does it. So.
Hey, you know what this calls for? What? Oh, that's where'd you get that inner circle hat though?
You know, one of the great perks of working here at PHNX. You know,
we robbed someone for that, basically.
Yeah, we had that is amazing. Oh my gosh!
Yes, indeed. Yes, I also wanted to bring something else to your attention, Mike. You love some good wordplay, so why don't we just start calling Dino Babers, outdated play calling, outdated coach.
Dino is really funny.
That's how he's known. That's how he's known in my household. So
Dino Babers, yes, exactly. Do you think Dino would be a been a good offensive coordinator for Woody Hayes back in 1960s? 3 yards.
Sounds about the right year. Sounds about the right year.
Why did I just do the wave? 3 yards in a cloud of dust with the Gila River in the wave there. Oh, Kevin, that's awesome. Hey, Scheer, on Wednesday when you're back, you wear the Circle K hat. I'm going to wear the inner circle. We're going to have the three amigos backing the K entirely.
I'm all over it.
Back in. That's all I had today.
The boys are back in. It's going to be trouble. Hey, yeah. Oh, that was good. All right. Before we sign off, we'll be back at 10:30. Fish is a legend in his own minds. Also, somebody said Fish likes the smell of his own farts. I can't really hold that against him if it's true.
Mike does too. So.
I love the smell of my own farts. So
Mike's big on that. So.
Yeah, so I can't really sit here and bash Jed, even though I'd like to. Although I bet Jed's are not up.
By the way, Dino Nuggets definitely better than Dino Babers because Dino Nuggets are underrated.
Yes. All right, now Scheer. But also, no better time to become a PHNX diehard. Look at this. This is true. Diehard membership, free t-shirt from your locker, access to all the premium written content, entrance to the Discord lounge, discounts on all events. Also, Jason Scheer, where can they find you doing all of your work? And me calling out people that are staining society. How about that?
Yeah, wildcatauthority.com. We are a very classy organization over there. You won't find any racism or anything like that.
Nope.
And the Wildcat Scoop podcast with Shelby, which is a little more PG-13.
But still, you know what? They still keep it cleaner than some other
jokes and a little innuendo. That's it. That's all.
Do you guys ever talk about farts on the podcast?
We talk about your farts.
Nice. All right. Mike's farts make him crave more Del Taco. Yes. What? Also, everybody hit the like. I'm not doing a good job at this. Give you an idea real quick. You guys got to help me here. Please remember this. We got over 200 lives today, but I am always forgetting the likes. Shane Diefenbach, a man who's will be back in the A when we get his his cousin to the U of A?
The whole family. We're going to get the whole family.
We're going to get Paolo. We're going to get everybody here. But he said, I need to do a better job at this. Everybody help me as well. I need it, as you know. All right. On that note, though, for Mr. Jason Scheer, who will be back with us Wednesday at 10:30, the prodigious Kevin Thomas, the Saint Lunatic behind the scene, who also has one of those inner circle hats. I am merely Mike Luke. We'll be back with you tomorrow. You've been listening to the AZ Wildcats podcast. Oh, damn right, McDeath. Back the A, baby. We back the A every single day. Appreciate you all. We'll be back with you tomorrow.
We all silly like the mayor.